I wanted to welcome you to the second annual Connected Buildings Summit, and we're excited to get together again for the second time. We started the conversation last year looking at how better data can effectively be used to help us make our buildings a lot more efficient, our people a lot more productive, and also looking at what some of the next generation technologies in the building domain are that are really enabling the new era of data-driven building operations. And so if you look at buildings today, they're not only on the verge of perhaps the most important transformation in history, that's already happening. What we at Lucid do, what we're focused on, and really what today and tomorrow are about, is looking at how we can pair all that infrastructure, all those connectable devices that aren't yet connected, but they have those capabilities, and pair them with software intelligence.
Fundamentally, Lucid is about changing commercial buildings. Commercial buildings are perhaps one of the biggest pieces of our economy that are still not digital. They're still working in an analog world. There's so many different ways we can improve them. 5.6 million commercial buildings in the US, 40% of our total energy production. We spend 90% of our lives indoors, which is a lot of time. 15% of our GDP is represented by buildings, and roughly $840 billion just in the US is spent on OpEx alone. So if you can change that by a small amount, you can have a pretty big impact. Now, the interesting thing about data is that some of it's useful, some of it's not. I read that 90% of all data in the world was created in the last 3 years. That was also true 3 years before that. The point is that it's growing exponentially. And so what the challenge is for us in this entire domain is how do you sort valuable data from just massive data? And what you need for that is data science. And this is something that we've invested a lot of time in. But fundamentally, what you need to do is think about savings, value. And so when we look out at the world and we say, what is this all worth? Data for data's sake is not worth that much. But what we're seeing is, when you look at the value that can be derived in these different buildings, it's pretty massive. The paybacks here are in weeks, not months or years. There's performance issues, there's team issues, there's all sorts of different things to uncover. The question is, what do you want to discover with this? And how can we then help you to go and do that?
I think at a high level, all of us understand that there's a bunch of data that we're collecting, we're taking it into the system and processing it, and we're hopefully leading it to ways that you can get a better sense of what's going on with your business, ways to improve it, and then eventually get to the transformation. We're scaling that for business. So you as an organization don't necessarily need to worry about all the compute power and the enabling tools that go on behind the scenes. You are more interested in the insights that are getting delivered by the platform. It needs to be responsive, it needs to be rich, it needs to be visual, and it needs to be flexible for how you want to share it and drive that collaboration that Will was talking about within your organization. I think the most important thing about the platform is the convergence of all three of these things, the capturing and the processing of it into one system, the scaling of it and getting it ready for the business, and then the interaction and the insight layer for it. It's not just enough for Lucid to be able to drive value for customers. We also want to enable a partner community and really get to a really rich ecosystem, taking this valuable data set and turning it into something that is valuable in a number of different ways that we haven't even thought about.